Hey guys, this is LYB Grimhammer, and I'm kind of showing you guys today a small basic guide on energy management. A more in-depth guide will be coming at a later date. So let's get started right away. So we all have, five different ship classes here, and each one uses energy at different drain levels. Some faster, some slower. And I kind of want to touch on each one of those, a couple of modules, and a couple of officer briefings that'll help out with your energy management. And it'll help, give you energy and keep you running longer. Energy is a very important factor in this game. So let's start off with Corvettes here. Corvettes, uh, their shields, they drain energy pretty quick, very fast actually. Two or three big hits, your energy's gone. Shields are down. You're gonna start taking damage. Power to engines, the drain to power to engines on Corvettes is very slow, very minimum. Power to weapons, it's kind of like a medium between all ships with power to weapons. Certain ones drain a little bit faster. Depends on, like, I guess the damage of the shot. Arties will drain your energy a lot quicker than, say, a Corvette will. But so the energy drain of Corvettes is pretty slow in engines, pretty high on your shields, and pretty average on your weapons. Next, you'll have Arties. Arties power to engines is kind of in between medium and a slow drain on engines. Your shields are going to be a pretty steady medium drain, and power to weapons. One or two shots will pretty much drop your energy with weapons. Tax, your shields are going to kind of drain higher than average. Engines, kind of average. And power to weapons is about average. But remember, power to weapons will increase your healing. And that's very important with tax. And so is shields. You really want to watch your energy consumptions as attack. It's very important. Destroyers, your energy drain is going to be kind of low to average on shields. Power to weapons, average to high, and your power to engines is going to be kind of average to high as well. Dreads, your energy drain on shields is going to be very low. Even when you're taking damage, it doesn't matter. It's just going to be a steady, slow drain. That's all it is. Engines is going to be pretty quick on dreads, and weapons, depending on the dread, you can drain them out pretty fast, especially with their secondaries. Now, to cover a couple of things here, with any ship, if you're not using energy, there's no reason to have it turned on. If you're not moving, there's no reason to have power to engines on. If you're not taking damage, there's no reason to have your shields up. Um, you know, um, if you're an RD and you take a shot at somebody with power to weapons on, be sure to turn it off right after. It's very important that you use energy at a moderate level. You don't want to kind of just leave it on just in case you're going to use it. You kind of want to turn it off, let it rebuild up on its own, and it's very important that you get used to turning it off and on, off and on. Me personally, I have my energy keys F1 through F4. That's engines, shield, weapon, and then off. And I have them hotkeyed on my mouse, which makes it very, very easy to do all your energy commands from there. Some people prefer the energy wheel. To me, personal preference, having them hotkeyed on my mouse is just very, very helpful, and it's very quick. I can do it all from just, moving my thumb on my mouse, and it's very useful. But yes, be sure to, if you're not firing, you turn it off. It will help your reload. It'll reload a little quicker, but really you're just burning energy at this point, and you don't want to do that. You always want to make sure you have some when you need it for a movement, or here comes the nuke. You need shields. You want to make sure you have it there. You have it available to use, because in a smaller ship like a attack or an arty or a corvette, that nuke is going to kill you if you can't shield it. It's going to drop you almost instantly. Some other big shots are like that too, and you want to be aware of those, because it's very important to get used to turning it on and off when needed for later battles, for these T4s, these T5s, these higher end in-game matches. You're going to want to get used to your energy management in that recruit stage. Now to cover a couple of officer briefings that'll help you out pretty well, and they're very important to have. Get on my good sides for starters is very important. Um, so basically, get on my good sides is for a dread and destroyer. If you take damage from the side, you regain energy based on the amount of damage you take. And every other ship, it's from taking hits in the back. For frontliners, this is very important. For guys who like to, you're playing your dread, you want to push up, you want to be that forward tank, or them destroyers who like being right in the front of the battle, in the thick of it. This is a very important officer briefing that will help you regain energy during the battle, and it will help with those moments that you're getting hit from the sides, your shields go down, and all it takes is one or two more shots, you have a little bit more boost of shields, or that extra boost to kind of power the engines and dip right down below cover and everything else like that. It's a very important officer briefing, in my opinion. Definitely one of the top five. Another one on this list right here is adrenaline shot. Now, this, you gain energy for being healed or healing others, which is very important because as attack, your job is, you're more or less a healer. You're a support. You're a primary healer. And for attack, this is a very, very important officer briefing to have because you're constantly gaining energy by just basically playing your role. I mean, you don't have to go out of your way to do anything special. You're just healing. You're just healing as attack, and you're going to gain a lot of energy out of this. And it's very helpful for you as attack because you're the backbone of the team. You're the lifeblood of the team. You can't. Your team's not going to be able to push and do. They're not going to be able to really move that front line up without you there supporting them and keeping them full health. And it's very important to have stuff like this, like a adrenaline shot, to help you with that little niche builds of energy that you need for power to weapons to get that little extra oomph out of your heals, or them shields to kind of block you from taking some of that damage that might finish you off, or you just need to move behind cover. Adrenaline shot is very, very important. My personal opinion here, very important for tacticals, and a lot of other people would most likely agree with me on this as well. Um, for movement, navigation expert is very nice. I don't use it terribly too much, but for people who like to move around a lot, for people who like to kind of stay on the outskirts of the map and flank a lot, or with corvettes or some of the smaller destroyers, it's actually very nice officer briefing. You drain energy 50% lower with powered engines, but the flip side of this effect is if you shield or you power the weapons, you're going to get a 30% more drain. So it's a double-edged sword, so be very careful with that, but it can be very useful for people who like to do stealth attacks, people who like to hit and run, guerrilla warfare tactics. It's very useful for people who play these roles, and I've seen people utilize Navigation Expert to its full extent and perform very well with it. For some of the guys who like to come in fast, hit hard, and get out quick, Engine Rigger is a very good one as well. Be aware though, you do get a 100% speed boost when powered engines is active, but you're going to drain your energy 75% faster. Now, I will say, based off of personal experience, with a Corvette, it takes their very slow drain and makes it an average almost equal to that of a destroyer. So if you get good at your energy management, turning it on and off when you need to move and when you don't, Engine Rigger can be very useful for small, fast attack craft, and it's definitely one of the ones I use the most on my assault ships, like my Corvettes and my Vindicta. I utilize Engine Rigger. It's one of my favorite movement officer briefings, and it's very nice to have. Now it doesn't help here much with energy management, but I would like to cover it because energy does draw into Modulamper. When power to weapons is active, you get 30% more damage out of and healing out of modules. And healing is very important, man, because people who run repair pods or auto beams, this little officer briefing right here can get you an extra 30% healing out of those modules. It also works with Modulamper. Marshall Angel works with beam amplifier, which is very important as well, and I'll cover that in a couple of seconds when I get to the modules. Um, it also works well with certain weapons, like you see here I have light missiles and Sterling salvo, missile salvo. Now, a kind of a tip to this, because some people don't know when's a good point to activate module amper for nukes or their missiles. Personally, salvo, if you wait for it to raise up the arm to launch the nuke, activate it there. Once it leaves your ship, turn it back off, because there's no point. By then you're just burning energy. You don't need it on anymore for the amp effect. For like missiles, you turn it on, you activate the missiles, you turn it right back off. You don't need to leave it on until they fly all the way to the target and everything, because then you're just burning excess energy that you need to save. For people who are running rams, you turn it off, you turn it on the moment you make impact, and then you just want to turn it back off or turn it on the engines or whatever else you need. You don't need it when you activate the RAM, and you really just need it for when you connect. The same works with assault blink warp, um, and most of the other things. You want to make sure that you're not leaving engine energy to weapons on during the entire flight process of a nuke or a missile, because once again, you're just going to burn a lot of energy when it was completely unnecessary. Another one here that you can throw in is feedback loop. It's a little unique officer briefing. I don't use it terribly too much. I've used it on a couple of ships, and I've utilized it a little bit. You gain zero point 0.3 energy per second of the module's total cooldown time. For like snipers who use evasive maneuver, it's a little 4-second cooldown. So you're going to get a little spurt of energy every time you evasive. Or some of the snipers that you like to use armor, the armor amplifier, and small cooldown modules, you can actually utilize feedback loop, and it can help you out in a couple of tight spots. I've used it here and there on some of the small tacs, the light RD. I find it to be a niche officer briefing. It can work for you, and then some people just don't use it at all. I personally I like it, but Retaliator, in my opinion, is I get a lot more use out of it. Then I'll cover Retaliator as well. Retaliator is very good for later when I cover some of the energy regeneration modules. As you take damage to your shields, you reduce your cooldowns. For people who are going to use energy generator and such, constantly shielding and stuff, you're going to get it back right away. And it's really nice to just have almost an unlimited supply of just energy. It's a beautiful officer brief. Another one we can cover on real quick is Desperate Measures. Now, Desperate Measures um, is for some of the lighter, in my opinion, the lighter classes, kind of like the Corvettes and the Light Destroyer. For people who are going to kind of get in the thick of it, knowing they have a chance of dying, when you get low health, it's going to refill all your energy, remove debuffs, except for disruption. It does not remove disruption, and it's going to reset your cooldowns, which is awesome. So we're going to move on to modules here. Some of the modules for different ships. We can kind of cover the T4 and T5 Corvette line has an armor amplifier. Every time they take damage, they gain energy, which is it's kind of nice. It's a decent little module. It can help you when you're trying to learn how to pilot. Really, it lets you kind of take a little extra damage, get in and out, and move away. If you're trying to learn like some good attack paths or stuff like that, I used it when I was practicing the pilot vets, and it kind of helped me out. Arties don't really have much in line of energy regeneration or energy help modules here. So we'll move on to the tac. Tacs have energy generator, which they self-regenerate energy at 500% for a certain duration. This example right here is the T4 module, which gives you 10 seconds of regeneration. And energy generator can be a lifesaver for tacs. I mean, you pop it, you have all this big influx of shields, or you just got drained per se, and you need that energy real quick to block, because he drains you and he's sending a Goliath at you. So you pop energy generator, your energy shoots right back up, and you block this Goliath. You know, it's a great emergency launch. And with Retaliator, it's going to cool right back down when you know after you take a certain amount of damage to your shields, and it's just really useful to run in conjunction with Retaliator. Another one here that attacks have, and this is a support module for other pilots. Energy missiles, very useful. I mean, most of the people I play with in squads, some of these attacks that I run with, they utilize energy missile to its fullest. It's such a very helpful module, and at the moment, it doesn't give you any kind of support score, which it really should. It's a really underrated module, and I recommend using it as attack. I use it. Sometimes I'll switch it off with repair pods, but I mean, it is a great support module. Another one here that I haven't really used too well, surge drones. I'm not much on the drones. My opinion, they're not very, they're helpful, but not as helpful as they could be. Maybe at a later date they'll kind of fix them and make them really worth it. But they do will recover your energy, and they will recover your teammates' energy as well as they fly around you. And they do have their uses, and they're very nice. Also be aware as attack, and other ships have these as well. You'll have modules, like you'll notice on beam amplifier. You have modules that when you activate will drain your energy. So once again, with energy management, you need to be aware that these modules you run, some of these modules can affect your energy management skills, and you need to adjust yourself, your positioning, and everything else as well to compensate for the drain that this module will have when you activate it. Also be aware of modules like this, for example, beam amplifier, it's going to make you take more damage. So you definitely want to watch your positioning and when you activate this, because you will be drained and you won't have a way to shield if you start taking damage. Move on to destroyers here. Destroyers have an energy generator as well. They get a little bit more generation of energy for a less duration of time, but it's a very helpful, very helpful module. I run it on my blood here, as you can see. You can see right here I have it already set in, and I love it. It's one of my go-tos for the blood itself. So we covered some modules. Let me cover real quick where you can get some of these officer briefings to use for your ship. So Desperate Measures was one I, and you can find it on the Tier 4 Medium Akula Vector RD, which is the Muramets. And this is where you get Desperate Measures right here. Module Amper can be found on the T4 Akula Destroyer, and which is known as the Blood. It's, like I said before, it's very useful for people who are using, TAC modules or even damage modules in general. It's a very useful module. Or let me phrase that, it's a very useful officer briefing. Adrenaline shot, a real must-have for healers, dedicated healers. You can find it on the T4 Akula Vector tactical cruiser, the Koshi. And like I said, once again, it's a beautiful officer briefing to run on your tactical cruiser. Get on My Good Side was one. So let's see here. Get on My Good Side is found on the T3 light corvette for Jupiter Arms, the Machias. And like I said, this one for people who are frontline tanks or frontline destroyers, it's a very good officer briefing that you guys want to grab early on. It's really helpful to have. Retaliator is found on the T4 Heavy Dreadnought from Jupiter Arms, the Jutland. And once again, running this in conjunction with Energy Generator is just amazing. It's going to help all your cooldowns. For healers, it's going to help your auto beams cool down quicker. Your repair pods, your beam amp. It's an awesome officer briefing to have. Another one here you have is Navigation Expert, that you will have a slower, drain on your powered engines. This can be found on the medium corvette of the Oberon line, the Medusa. And last, very sure not least, Engine Rigger can be found on the Light Destroyer Oberon line Vindicta. And like once I said, it's bigger movement speed, less, it almost double the drain though, 75%, but still a very, very useful officer. And that's it, guys. There will be a more in-depth video with some placement, movements, and how I do things with energy management at a later date. It's kind of just a starter guide for people who have the questions, when they just got in that recruit match and they kind of want to know some things. Um, as another thing, though, guys, feel free to message me in game, add me as a friend. You need somebody to play with. You guys need somebody to show you the ropes. Feel free to add me, LYB Grimhammer here, as you can see on the screen, and or you can shoot me a whisper in the game. I have no problem helping somebody out with questions or anything else. You need somebody to group up with you, run some recruit matches. I'm here for that. I don't mind helping the community. It's an amazing community of people. Look for the Dreadnought Beta Testers Discord. Plenty of friendly, helpful people there as well. And you can go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Grimhammer, or Twitch, twitch.tv/Grimhammer 102608. And like I said, any questions, feel free to message me, PM me on Discord, or in game, or you can even comment on the video on YouTube. And have a nice day, guys.